Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the Power of Your Mind podcast. You're listening to episode 258, Manifesting Your Dreams Through Creativity. I'm Jim Kellner, comedy hypnotist. Victoria Gallagher is the #1 best-selling author of The Practical Law of Attraction. She's also the author of The Ultimate Weight Loss Power, How to Manifest Your Soulmate, and the founder of HipTalk.com and HypnoCloud Apps, the premier online destination for hypnosis recordings. With over 500 recordings to choose from, HypnoCloud provides solutions for people from all walks of life, guided meditations, affirmations, and hypnotherapy to help with the law of attraction, manifestation, business success, stress, anxiety, sleep issues, and more. So be sure to download it today from the app stores. The goal of today's show, of every show, is to inspire you to dream big and live your best life. As every week, we discuss how to use manifesting, affirmations, meditation, and hypnosis to help people create the life of their dreams. So if you're ready to start manifesting your best life, join us and let us help you tap into the power of your mind. Hello, Victoria.
Hello, Jim. How are you?
Doing great, thanks.
Good, good. Well, I am excited to dive into today's episode about creativity. I love the subject. I love helping people to tap into their creativity because I think, so many people feel limited by their or stifled by their level of creativity, or it's like, "Oh, I'm not very
Yeah,
creative," things like that,
exactly.
and it's like, oh my God, I am here to just cross that out.
Excellent. I can't wait. I can't wait. So, probably folks that listen to this, they're going to want to know how creativity can enhance their manifesting.
It can. I mean, first of all, creativity, I'm just turning my fan off here just in case it's blowing into the microphone. So creativity allows you to ultimately is tapping into the power of your imagination. It's tapping into helping you to visualize your desires because as we all know, as you're able to visualize your desires, makes them true. It makes them feel true to your subconscious mind. And so, if you're able to really tap into your creativity and imagination, visualize your desires, you just have a much, much better chance of being able to manifest that. Creativity also is good for just helping you to develop a positive mindset, an abundance mindset, helps you to align your energy with your desires and to be able to attract them more easily.
Yeah, and what you said, I felt that. I think I've shared that on the show before, where I'm able to while I'm driving have um, an almost hallucination, wide awake, of like driving where I want to be driving in the car I want to be driving in, and it just feels so good. And it's we've talked about this before. Like if you get that kind of a feeling, it almost doesn't matter if you actually manifest the thing because you already got the feeling.
Exactly. So many people, I just want to speak to that because so many people think, it's like, oh, well, as soon as this is over, I'm going to feel so happy and relieved. And as soon as I do this, then I can do that. Or as soon as this, then I'll feel like that. And it's always like, there's always this one more thing. I mean, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but like in my business, I'm always kind of like, oh, as soon as this one hurdle is over, or
Right. Oh yeah.
a couple weeks ago, I was
Hmm.
like, well, as soon as the ICBCH conference is over, I'm going to be able to get back to working on this and working on that because I've been so focused on and so
Yeah.
stressed, about my keynote speech, which was amazing. Uh, and, but there always seems to be like this thing that's standing in our way between just being the feeling that we really want to be. And it actually works in reverse. The feeling actually makes it happen. It's not the other way around. It's not that it's happening that's going to make us feel a certain way. If you're waiting to feel happy, for, your soulmate to come, or to have enough money, or to get out of a bad situation that you're in right now. If you're waiting to feel good, you're going to be waiting a long, long time. And most likely that thing's not going to happen until you change. You're the one that brings, and grows into the person who can attract and manifest and have that thing come to pass.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can you help differentiate what is the difference between visualization, imagination, creativity? How are they all similar and how are they all different?
So, this is one thing, because I talk about all of these interchangeably, or, kind of, they're all interrelated, but there are some differences. And I just think it's really, interesting and important to understand, like, how do you distinguish between what's imagination, what's visualization, and all of that. So visualization is really about the process. It's the thing that you do. It's the actions, the activity of creating that mental image, focusing on a specific goal, doing that mental rehearsal. So it's, experiencing those vivid details in your mind. So it's visualizing is the thing that you do. It's a doing. So like when people say, like, I'm not very good at visualizing, it's a skill that you can get better at doing. It's a process. Imagination is the ability to form those mental images that are not present. So they're kind of similar, but they're different. Visualizing is the doing it. Your imagination, is always increasing and improving as you do this process. And so you increase your ability to become more imaginative the more you do the process of visualization. So if you think about it, maybe like visualization is the mental exercise, imagination is like the strength that you get as a result of doing the mental activity. And then creativity is the use of the imagination to produce something, or to have a solution to a problem. So it's usually a combination of how you arrange existing ideas, existing elements together to create something new. So it's putting together like any ideas that you get. And, it's just that it's the combination of doing that. That's your creativity. It's, so all of these pieces involve imagery, using your mind to create something. But creativity is taking the visualization and the imagination and just mixing that together to create to create something new out of an existing element.
I love that you called it a mental exercise, because I've noticed that, the more I work on it, try to visualize things, it really is like a muscle. It just gets stronger and stronger. And I was reminded of some stuff that Neville Goddard said about, you go in one room and you think about what's in the other room, and you try to fill it in, and you try to imagine what's there. And I've been trying to do that with like an apple, even, like, let me really imagine what an apple looks like, how it feels and how it smells. And it's interesting how you start off with kind of a vague picture, and then little details start to show up. Oh, there's a little blemish over here, and a little dent over there. And it's really interesting how that comes to be.
Yeah, no, it really is. And that's one of the ways that I help people to learn. Like I actually, in my self-hypnosis course, I have a little module on visualization. And one of the exercises that I have them do is I just have them look at this very basic image of a smiley face. Because, like the more basic, if you just have a hard time visualizing, just think about like the most, like don't get it caught up into too many details. Just start small. Start with like a circle, literally.
Yeah.
So think about a circle and then close your eyes, and then think about the circle, or think of a triangle. So just start with the most basic shapes. And but actually, this is like a smiley face. It's yellow in the middle, and she's got the two eyes and a little dot for a nose, and it's the most basic face. And I just have them like stare at that image for 10 minutes, like let it burn into your mind. Like literally just let it. That's why I have it yellow, because it's a little bit more, a little easier. You can even do this with a candle, just like stare at a candle, stare at a candle, stare at a candle, and like literally let the light from that candle almost just kind of like burn into your mind, and then when you close your eyes, you still see a little faint image of what you were just looking at. So that's like the most basic elementary way to start to visualize.
Nice. Nice. Well, how would you describe the creative process?
So I was just today, I was doing just a little bit of research about this, because I just love learning new things, and I don't know where concepts came from. And I was looking for like a lot of case studies, but actually what came up was there was this book called The Art of Thought from 1926. And the author, Graham Wallace, he completed, he came up with one of the first models of what the creative process is. Because I know, like in The Secret, they talk about ask, believe, and achieve. That's the creative process. But I don't know. I think it kind of goes a little bit, a little deeper than that. And so the creative process, he breaks it down into these 4 stages. And the stages are preparation, which is that point in time where you're starting to just give your attention to something. Like it's at the very, very beginning. It's like, oh, you realize, maybe it's like that you realize that you don't want to live in your same house anymore, or you want a relationship, or you want to start a business. So it's like that you're just starting to prepare, starting to get a little curious, so it just is when it first comes into being. Now, this was what I found interesting. The second stage is incubation. And this is the part where he says the conscious work stops. So you have to tap into your subconscious mind in order to, really, tap into the creative process, because the next step of this is really to just direct your attention to other things. After you have started to gather this information, get curious about it, that's where the unconscious mind starts to take over unconsciously. You're not even really necessarily thinking about it, but the unconscious mind is going to work. And it's like its job is to solve problems. And so it's always just trying to, come up with solutions. And that's where creativity really is in our unconscious. So then have you ever noticed how you've been thinking about something, you let it go for a little while, but then the idea, which is the third phase, starts to come to your mind. You start to get ideas. It's like, oh, I never thought about that. And that's, where the work that you did during the preparation really starts to turn into and solidify into these conscious ideas. And then so finally, once you start to get these ideas, it goes into the fourth and the final phase before you take action on it. And that's the evaluation phase. So that's step 4. And that's when the logical, rational mind comes in and starts analyzing all these ideas that you got. And then now you have to decide on whether these ideas, these insights are valuable and worth pursuing.
Great. And how can we, especially for those folks out there that think they're not creative, or And it's funny because people tend to think of like, if they can't paint a picture or write a song or act in a play, that they're not creative. But creativity comes about in so many different areas.
Yeah.
It's really in the way you think. How can we adjust our thinking to become even more creative, or to develop some creativity if we don't think we're already creative?
Right. Well, so there's many, many, many ways, but two of the ways I just want to mention here are that, I think the more sensitive you are to any kind of problems that exist, like you just become aware of like, oh, that doesn't work right.
Yeah.
I wonder if, I wonder if there's a solution, so you just kind of start to be curious about how can we make this work better? Or like, you just start to notice like, and really, you do come a little bit problem focused, because ultimately every solution is an answer to a problem. So how do you come up with solutions without really thinking about like, well, what are the problems? Like, could this work better in some way? So that's the first thing, is you just sort of develop a little bit of an appetite for like, kind of just looking at like what's not working, and understanding like, could this maybe work a little bit better? And then the other thing that is really helpful to develop that sense of creativity is just being more flexible in your mindset. So, if you are of this really diabolical, so focused on there only being one solution, one perspective, one thought process, one way to believe, you're not going to be very creative, because you're not even allowing for other possibilities to exist. So start to let your mind be more pliable and flexible, and looking at things from other perspectives, from other angles, and just begin to like, branch out your thinking into like other, channels of thinking. And so those are two kind of like attitudes, almost thought adjustments, attitude adjustments that you could make just to begin the process of allowing yourself to like, step into a little bit more of a, creative mindset.
Kind of sounded to me like you were saying, get rid of that word can't, because that's going to put the blinders on, the blindfold, and just be open. I haven't figured out a way yet. It's not that I can't afford it. I just haven't figured it out yet, or I can't do this. It's because I haven't figured it out yet. And so I think that's important for people to remember. Get rid of the word can't and be open to possibilities. Otherwise, you
Absolutely.
just turn off the creative process, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, exactly.
Well, and I think you kind of alluded to this already, but how can creativity help people to really overcome their manifesting blocks?
Well, so let's just talk about like, so what are some manifesting blocks that a person might be experiencing? They might, you know, they might have a lot of doubts. They might have a lot of limiting beliefs. They might, keep kind of trying the same thing over and over again, expecting a, different result, not getting that. And so one of the things that you want to do is, number one, I mean, just kind of like even acknowledging that there might be a block that you're having. Maybe you're focused a little bit on that, like you were just saying, focusing on, this is impossible. I can't
Right.
do this. This is never going
Yeah.
to work. And shifting to, well, how can it work? And, thinking about, one of the tricks that I like to use just to trick my own mindset is to really look at modeling other people and looking at, like kind of borrowing the success from other people, and
Yeah.
realizing that, well, if that person can do that, then there is
Mhm.
a way. And another thing that I also like to do that I help people and I help myself to tap into the abundance of possibilities that are there is I actually have people write a list, and it seems overwhelming for people to come up with this list, but I actually have them make a list of 100 things that they could do to bring about their manifestation. And when they do that, what begins to happen is they're no longer, they drop from after about 10 or 20 things, because it's almost impossible. It seems almost impossible for our conscious mind, to be able to work out these details, so we can we begin to drop down into the unconscious, into our intuition, and we begin to connect with our inner wisdom. And our inner wisdom that's what it does. It helps you to find solutions to those blocks. And so when you get to about, line 20, you start to drop into that. And any kind of journaling, any kind of going into a meditative state, really just shifting out of that lack mentality, out of that I can't do it, out of it's impossible, to like, how can I? And, and just change your perspective. Like you could literally sometimes, you could literally like take the problem out of your mind and just set it in a place in your, in your room. Like literally just imagine that it's there in a place in your room, and stand there and like think about all the possible ways that you could approach that. And then literally, not figuratively, but literally change perspective. So go stand in another place and look at it and notice that you're going to come up with new ideas, new perspective, new ways that you can manifest the solution to that.
Yeah, and I love the idea of borrowing from the success of others. Like I will humbly admit that my first website was based pretty strongly on Richard Barker's. I kind of Googled like top hypnotists, and I went to his, and I was like, oh, that's smashing. And so it wasn't copied completely, but it was certainly an inspiration. And so we can borrow, like you said, and even this, I think this is a great time to just point out that this is why we need coaches, right? We need people, at least, or a mentor or somebody that's either already been there or can at least come from that outside viewpoint, because it's so easy to get myopic about these things, and they might have a fresh perspective as well.
Oh, that's such a great point, because yeah, I mean, it's like brainstorming. I mean, even just having another two heads are greater than the sum of its parts, right?
Right.
So it's like you put together these two minds and a third mind kind of comes out, and you're just able to grow that energy and feed upon it and expand. And I mean, that's one of the many benefits of coaching. And also, just to trail off what you said about borrowing from other people's websites, I mean, it's Russell Brunson, I mean, that's what his whole philosophy with the funnel hacking is all about.
Oh, right.
Is it's modeling. It's not taking the specific content, but it's taking the model of what works. Okay, so you have a home page, you have a opt-in page, you have the sales page, and and basically just like taking the model of it. It's like, okay, there's a bold headline here, there's a sub headline, and there's this much text, but you bring your own content in it, and or even just figuring out like, well, how many components do they have? I'm kind of using that right now. I'm creating a gigantic course, and there's a lot of like big manifesting courses out there on the market, and I'm saying, okay, well, what is it about these sales pages, or what is it about these the structure of this course that makes it work? And what kind of transformation are people getting out of taking these courses, and what are they not getting? And and so I think it's really important to take a look to see like what is working and then use that as a model. That's completely fine, modeling and borrowing from that genius, just as long as, you're not, plagiarizing material and,
Right.
you're coming up with your own copy. But, you're still kind of using a formula, let's just say.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I know you mentioned a few creative techniques for manifesting. Could you give us some more?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we did talk about some mindsets that you could tap into, which were, just kind of being a little problem centric and thinking about like all the problems, being curious about problems, being flexible on shifting your perspective and things like that. But some techniques that we could use to like, really help you to, just tap into and drop into your creative self. Or, one is like actually creating a vision board. Just sitting down and, cutting out images of things that you would like that inspire you and putting all of those on a board that you're looking at every day. When you're looking at the end result, you're seeing the picture of what it is that you want. Your subconscious mind is going to begin to send you ideas. And, so that's one reason for the vision board. It's not like the vision board just becomes a magnet and draws those things into your awareness, but it's going to send you ideas. That's the whole thing that I always like to make sure that people understand about manifesting, is that's like the missing key for everyone, is this whole action part of it. And it's about like, but it's not just like, well, what action should I take? It's like, no, it's like, first of all, you probably already know an action that you can take, but ultimately, your subconscious mind is brilliant at helping you to solve that problem, to answer that key question. And, so then going in and, doing some journaling and some scripting about your goals and what it is that you desire to have, taking some time and really clearing your mind every day through doing some kind of meditation or mindfulness practice is just another way to strengthen that part of your mind and to acknowledge that part of your mind. You have this deeper part of your mind, and for so many people, they're just ignoring this part of their mind. So what happens if you ignore this part of your mind, or you give it very little attention, or you just don't want anything to do with it? If you don't want anything to do with it and you're not willing to create a relationship with this part of your mind, this part of your mind isn't going to do anything to help you to solve those problems. So you need to have a relationship with that part of your mind, your subconscious and the superconscious, infinite intelligence, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And then just another one that I've always felt works for me, but in doing a little bit of my research for today, there's research that actually states that just spending time in nature increases and enhances our creativity. And, it just, it causes us to really just expand and look at this expansive world around us that's unpredictable, and like things just happen out there in nature that maybe you weren't expecting. And you see this bird that you haven't really seen before, and you begin to wonder about, where did this bird come from? What is that bird called? Have I seen this bird before? And just that level of thinking when you're out in nature helps to grow and expand that level of creativity.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that's great about like having a vision board or doing some of these other things, the journaling and scripting and stuff, is that it reminds you. It's a constant reminder, because guess what? We forget. You ever done that? You set a goal, you go, oh, I really want to do that this year or something. And then 3 years later, you go, oh, that's right, I wanted to do that thing. And now it's gone.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's a really, really great point too, because there's so many ideas. I just get so many ideas. And, just even having a journal just to document the ideas that you
Yeah.
get. And then every once in a while, I mean, it's like, go back and read your journal, and you can read your journal for just seeing how much progress you've made. Where were you a year ago? I really enjoy doing that, actually looking back at, a year ago, like I was in this place, and it really just kind of helps you to be grateful for how far you have already come. And, but then on top of that, just like it's, when you write your ideas down in your journal that come to you, say during a meditation, maybe, like you said, you forget about them, but you can use that to go back and say, oh yeah, I wanted to do that. Let's, let's put that on our to-do list, or on our goal list, or put that on our vision board. So all these things, like you said, they're great reminders.
And we know we need to be reminded. How can we incorporate the creativity into our daily manifesting practice?
Yeah, I think it's really important to, number one, just set aside time every day for it. Make it part of what you're setting out to do. Make it part of your intention to expand your creativity. I mean, if you really think about it, like every single thing that's ever been created or invented, or any successful business, it came from being creative. I mean, the most successful people in the world have been able to tap into deeper levels of creativity to solve bigger problems. The bigger problems you're solving, the more money you're ultimately going to make. And so, you might think like, well, I don't know how to solve big problems. Like I only know how to solve problems that I know about how to solve. But that's because maybe you haven't been tapping into that creativity. So make that a priority, that you're gonna set time aside to do these creativity evoking activities. And there's so many different activities, I mean, that you can do to just evoke creativity. Create something that is going to help you, like even if you're not good at drawing, do drawing, or do painting. Go to one of those wine and paint things, that'll help you to draw out some, go sing karaoke, dance, listen to music, listen to creative, creative type music. Read is going to help you. Reading is going to help you to watch movies. Surround yourself with people that are inspiring. Go take courses, go to workshops, take online courses, do, your meditation every day, do hypnosis to help you to tap into creativity. I've got a bunch of hypnosis that helps people to enhance and enhance their creativity. Watch YouTube videos, make YouTube videos. I mean, like there's hundreds of things you can do. And I would encourage you to just sit down and say, okay, I'm dedicated to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 20, whatever it is, to enhance my creativity every day. Because as you enhance your creativity, you're bound to improve your level of manifestation, because you have access to that many more ideas that you can apply toward whatever it is that you desire to achieve in life. So make this one of your number one priorities when it comes to growing yourself as a person, is growing your ability to create and set aside time. There's, create a ritual around all the things that I just shared, if not others. And before you know it, you will have so many insights, so many ideas on how to take action and manifest and achieve everything that you ever dreamed of.
Daily action, really, those small steps every single day is what really is going to take you forward in life. We've all found that to be true that have done that. Victoria, thanks for sharing all those ideas. As you mentioned, vision board, I was thinking I still only have the palm trees.
Where's your vision board?
I printed out some pictures.
Yeah.
So
well, I challenge you to
soon.
Cut them out and put them on your board and look at them and feel them and become one with them and feel the feelings of being in your place with palm trees by the beach, wherever.
Right.
And you will get there.
Thanks so much, Victoria.
Thanks, Jim. Dan, thank you so much for being a great co-host. And thank you, guests, once again for tuning into the Power of Your Mind podcast. And I hope you found today's episode informative, inspiring, empowering. Please do share this podcast with your friends, with your family. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review, and tune in next week and every week for another inspiring episode. And until then, keep using the power of your mind to reach your goals and live your best life of abundance and joy.